Welcome back, my friends, to BjjBrick Quick. This is your quick Jiu-Jitsu podcast. Tried to make the song a little extra cheerful because it gets pretty grim pretty quick today. This week, we're diving into the Wright Brothers. I read a book just recently by David McCullough called The Wright Brothers. Man, David, you nailed the title on that one. That just makes everybody want to click on that. You could have maybe picked up a little bit more of a sexy title, but hey, here I am talking about the Wright Brothers, and I know that this probably isn't the best way to grow a jiu-jitsu audience, but it's interesting to me, and I think it'll be interesting to you. So let's go look back. There's Orville and Wilber Wright. Those are the two brothers. Now, Wilber was playing what appears to be ice hockey, and he got most of his teeth, his top teeth, knocked out by the neighborhood bully. And there was a weapon involved. The Wright Brothers did not like talking about this. It appears to be a bat, but why wouldn't it have been a hockey stick? I don't understand. But this guy, Oliver Crook Haugh, was the neighborhood bully, knocked out most of Wilber Wright's top teeth. Man, and that hit him hard. It caused, let's look into this a little bit before we talk about jiu-jitsu. It caused Wilber a lot of jaw and face pain. He needed false upper teeth. He got a serious digestive complication, and he had issues with depression. Like, it really hit him hard getting his teeth bashed in by this bully. If that's not crazy enough, and it set him back in school, and it was just a crazy mess. But look, the guy, Oliver Crook Haugh, you can Google this guy. He became Dr. Oliver Haugh. He became a serial killer. Okay? This guy who knocked out Wilber Wright's teeth ended up killing people. He was a doctor. He killed many of his patients, and eventually, kind of with the whole thing fell apart, he drugged and burned his parents and brother, and that kind of was like, all right, let's look at this guy. Haugh had been married 9 times, and 4 of his wives had died. That's a little suspicious. That's a little suspicious. The total number of victims is unknown. It's believed that at least 13 people died at the hands of Dr. Oliver Crook Haugh. I'll put a link to a little website about him on this. I'll try to put a link to the book that I read that mentions this as well. Man, I've spent a little time on this, haven't I? This is insane. The person who comes up with man flight, one of them gets their teeth knocked out by a bully, he becomes a serial killer. Like, what a weird world. Anyways, let's talk about a little bit about jiu-jitsu, I guess. Wilber clearly had a bully, and he clearly had issues with that. And eventually he overcame these things. So good for him for doing that. And maybe that's what kind of drove him to dive deep into something like flight and the mechanics behind it and that sort of thing. Also, man, Oliver Crook Haugh. What the hell's going on here? He went through medical school as a student and was passed along in the system. How do you get married 8 times and have 4 of your wives dead and then get married a 9th time? I don't know, maybe the 9th wife died. Maybe she was one of the ones that died. But like, people didn't, what are they doing here? They didn't catch on to these things. Could you imagine being one of his med school teachers? And like, this guy's crazy. Let's pass him along in the system. Let's get him to be a doctor. That's a horrible idea. If you're out there teaching jiu-jitsu to people, and they're out there getting in fights every day, causing trouble, they're a bully, maybe they're bashing somebody like Wilber's teeth in with their jiu-jitsu skills learned by you, hey, maybe don't teach that person. Maybe they have problems. Maybe you could teach them eventually, but they got issues to deal with. Looking out for the mental health of your students and the appropriateness of what the questions are and that sort of thing. You're kind of teaching a deadly art here. And if you're going to share that with people who are murdering 4 of their wives, man, I couldn't imagine how the medical establishment felt about certifying him and passing him along in their system. Like, I also wouldn't want one of my students that I train with to come in and pop up on the news that they murdered somebody with their bare hands or whatever. Stuff happens. We can't control all these things. But if you see a student having problems, looking like they're going to do something, crazy, a coach has a role. Coaches are looked up to. Teammates have a role. Maybe you could put the brakes on that a little bit, or be a social vent for them or something. I don't know. I just read this part of the story in the book, and I was like, man, this, I had no idea this happened. It became even crazier that the guy became a serial killer, and Wilber had a legitimate bully. Feel sorry for the guy, man. I've never heard of a bully situation kind of ended in, with jaw injuries and getting new upper teeth. It's a bit extreme. Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast, which this one is a little bit grim, usually I'm a little more positive. Usually it's a little more upbeat and a little bit more maybe jiu-jitsu lessons, but I thought this story was just too juicy, I guess, to not share with you guys. Share this fun fact with somebody. And they'll be a little surprised. No doubt. If you want to support the podcast, go to Patreon, and you can support us there. Really appreciate you guys doing that. We get to $100 per month, that's not insane. I plan on bumping this to be a daily podcast, which spans the weekends. Right now, we're just Monday through Friday. So we got a goal. We're going to try to get to that. If not, I'll continue to take my weekends off. I'm happy. I don't know. I would enjoy more support doing this. So I appreciate you guys that do that. And you can check that out for more information. Hope you have a great day, my friends, and stay sweaty.